I'm going to try to record myself doing these motive transformations so that you can see me do them in this video and try to do it quickly. Here is a repetition. Repetition obviously is going to be the same notes with the same rhythms just done over again. So that was pretty simple. Here's transposition. We could go up or down. A simple transposition would be to go up a step. Here it is a step higher. We could easily go down a step or up a different interval, but anyway, that shows you what a transposition is written out. A sequence will take the same idea and transpose it up a couple of times. And I didn't leave enough space here to do that in full rhythm, but maybe if we include diminution, we could do a little bit more. What are we doing? A third up higher, and then we'll do it another third higher. So we could do it that way. There's our original sequence. Down a fourth, and then up a sixth. There's a sequence just with 2 iterations. Okay, interval expansion. We could actually expand any of the intervals or both. That would expand both intervals. So now I've got a fifth here instead of a fourth, and then here it's an octave instead of a sixth. So there's an interval expansion. Interval compression, we're going to do the opposite. So I might start on the same note and go down only a third. And if I do both, if I compress both intervals, I might just go up to there. Okay. The augmentation, I've given 2 measures of space for that. Again, this is rhythmic augmentation, so we're specifically going to double each of the values. So that was an 8th note, so I selected a quarter note here. Quarter note, and metrically speaking, that doesn't exactly fit, but put a quarter rest in first. And then I won't fit a dotted whole note in there, but I can fit a dotted half note, or a double whole note, I mean. A whole note instead of 2 half notes, but I can do a dotted half note to get the right length. So there's a rhythmic augmentation. Diminution will do the opposite. This is what I did with the sequence and then erased. So I'm just going to have the note values, and there's a diminution. That one obviously leaves empty measure space. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do the inversion. For this inversion, I'm going to start on the same note. Inversions don't always necessarily start on the same note, but I will. Instead of going down a fourth, I'm going to go up a fourth. And then instead of going up a sixth, I'm going to go down a sixth. There. Retrograde with this kind of rhythm is a little bit strange because we're going to start, this is going to be exact retrograde. Start with the half note. And then we have those 2 notes coming, if you want to see the original motive up there, those 2 notes coming in reverse order. So that's exactly the opposite. Retrograde inversion, now I'm going to start with that half note. And I'll start with the same half note that I did for the retrograde. But now I'm going to go up a sixth and then down a fourth to get the inversion. That retrograde inversion could also be done starting on the first note of the original and done the other way. But anyway, that'll give you the retrograde inversion. Fragmentation. There's one fragment. another fragment that could be done would be to take the C and the A. And actually we might do that down here and show you that fragmentation with sequence that I talked about in the page. So this might look like this. Let me dot that now. So there I've taken a fragment, the CA, and then I've sequenced that. So there's DB, it's a step higher, and there's the EC, which is another step higher. So that's a way of using a fragment with a sequence. And then ornamentation, this one's a little less easy to do with a notation program. But anyway, there's an extra note added in. I added an extra bar in here, a few extra measures at the end of this file so we can add extra things. Another way to ornament that, maybe I can do this. And they're going to add another note to ornament that by giving it a non-chord tone. So there's examples of all those written out. Some of yours may be different, but it should still make sense, following the same process. There's a wide variety of things that you could do with a motive.